Honestly, I'm just gonna get right into the video because you've read the title, you've seen the thumbnail. Here we go. The next 3 films that I have to talk about actually include 2 new favorites, even though one is kind of not a film, but it's very exciting. And it's what I'm starting out with, and it's EXO Planet number 2, The Exolution, which I have, because how else would I watch it? I'm gonna try not to like fangirl here, but EXO is my favorite musical artist. This is their concert film for their second like tour. They call their tours EXO Planet and then, you know, number whatever. And so this is EXO Planet number 2. I already have 3 and 4 and I've already watched those, but this was my first time seeing Exolution. This physical release is from 2016. I'm sorry, the lighting is like weird because I'm holding this up, but this was recorded in 2015 at one of their concert dates in Seoul. No, it comes like this. So it's sort of like sideways. I don't know why they did it like this, but it's what they did. And then it comes with, oh yeah, this one's on Blu-ray. How exciting, because EXO Planet number 3 and 4 are only available on DVD if you get the Seoul date. They also have a release that's the Tokyo date, one of the Tokyo dates at the Tokyo Dome, but those are more expensive. I mean, this was a little bit more expensive than the DVD anyway, but it was worth it. I have to say this now before I forget, because I don't think I have it written down. The Blu-ray was so worth it. It made all the difference. Like, I actually wouldn't mind double dipping and getting EXO Planet number 3 and 4 on Blu-ray as well. Plus, the performances are usually a little different, like in Seoul and in Tokyo, so... But I'm so glad that this is on Blu-ray and I was able to get it, because these also, like, a lot of K-pop stuff goes out of print. Did I even? I tried filming the opening already, and I don't know how far I got, so now I can't remember what I've already said in this video and what I said when I tried recording this the first time, but then I was just like fangirling and I kept smiling and it was just like a little too much. Especially if you just like don't care about EXO. But this was like really enjoyable. It was so great. Please stick around. And then it has the track list on the back, which is also what's on the back of the slipcover. And then it comes with this booklet that's just sort of like, not like postcards, but like postcards. It just has like photos of the members, and then it has like their signature on the back. It's just photo cards, but like not photo cards, because photo cards are like a specific thing in K-pop. I can't get into it. That's always me and me mentioning something that has to do with K-pop. I'm like, I can't get into it. Okay. So it was really enjoyable. I mean, it's EXO. They're my favorite musical artist. They're my favorite K-pop group. That's where I was going with the whole, I can't remember what I've said and what I haven't said in this video. They're a K-pop group. They're my favorite. Favorite K-pop group and favorite musical artist. There are 9 members. They're EXO. 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 So, specifically talking about this concert film, I'll get into my notes now. I actually thought that I might be disappointed with this one, or just at least not like it as much as the other ones. EXO Planet number 3 and 4, which I've already said that I have, and those are what I've seen. And I thought that because their first album, called XOXO, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I don't really listen to it that much because I prefer their other albums. But it's still good, it's just not exactly my taste, and I thought that EXO Planet number 2 would have a lot of tracks from their first album, since at this time they only had 2 full-length albums and 2 mini-albums out, which mini-albums are like EPs, they just call them mini-albums in K-pop. Yeah, so I thought that there would be a lot of songs from XOXO, and while there were, it was like fine. It didn't make me disappointed or not enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I'm glad it surpassed my expectations. Specifically, like, even though I'm not as into the more popular, like, general pop songs that are on XOXO that they performed, the hype section, the, like, club section, like, this whole this whole concert I would just describe as hype. This is hype. It looks like so much fun, and I really want to go to an EXO concert. And actually, EXO Planet number 5 is currently happening, and there's like sort of a rumor I saw on Twitter, a translation of something that Suho, the leader, one of the members, said, and he said something about a world tour according to this translation, and now I'm just like, world tour? Like, in America? Like, oh my god, that'd be awesome. Anyway. Okay. So now I'm going to get into specific songs and performances that I really liked and just sort of notes about the songs, if I made any, which is mostly just this first one that they actually played Let Out the Beast instead of just sounding like it's what's playing next. So like in the sort of hype section, the like club section, I'll call it. I should explain that after I finish with the Let Out the Beast thing, but they have a song called Let Out the Beast, and there's part of another song that it like sounds like Let Out the Beast is about to play, but instead it just like the instrumental is sort of used in that song. Hopefully that made sense. But the way that I'm assuming that a lot of pop concerts work this way. I'm just not used to it because EXO is probably by far the most popular like musical artist that I listen to. I'm used to going to like really small venues for sort of like Warped Tour bands, just like smaller alternative punk rock kind of bands, where they don't have like outfit changes and a huge stage production or anything like that. It doesn't actually say the specific sections or anything like that, but they'll like come out, you know, in the opening and have like one outfit on, you know, their like opening outfit on, and then do maybe like 4 or 5 songs and then go backstage and change and sort of like clean up a little because they're like dancing at the same time because it's K-pop. So yeah, get some of the sweat off of them, and then they'll come back out in a different outfit looking cleaner and or just less sweaty, even though the sweat starts like immediately they start dancing again. And then they perform another 3 or 4 songs, go backstage, change outfits, and come back again. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm assuming, I'm guessing it's 4 to 5 songs. Maybe it's a little longer than that. But still, they have like the songs that they perform each time that they come out are certain sections that like usually there's a sort of theme or connection between the songs that is why they have them together. And specifically, the only one that I can think of like a good like title for is like the sort of club section, because it has a lot of like really hype songs and the lights go crazy. Like you could never go to an EXO concert if you have epilepsy. That would just, you'd be on the floor. It's insane. And this one specifically had so many lights going on, and like it was nice to see a sort of different setup, because even if they perform like the same songs during their EXO Planet tours, then having the different stage setup and outfits, and you know, K-pop idols are always changing their hair color and hairstyle and everything like that. So to have just a whole different production of it is worth them sort of like repeating certain songs, especially if you're like maybe not a fan of a song as much. I mean, certain songs are just like fan favorites and like a title track and things like that, which they're more likely to perform. So it makes sense when they have a certain song on their set list every single EXO Planet. And I was actually surprised that they had this sort of like club hype section in this one, because I thought that it started with EXO Planet number 2, but I guess I was just wrong about that. And so it was surprising, but like, you know, in a good way. So, yeah, getting into specific performances that I really liked. Overall, I loved the choreography. This one has a lot of songs that I have never seen EXO perform before, that like they only performed for EXO Planet number 2, and that weren't title tracks, so they didn't perform the songs on any sort of Korean music shows or award shows or anything like that. So it was nice to see choreography for songs that I was less familiar with their performance of. My favorite performances were El Dorado, which is iconic for multiple reasons. I mean, just the whole like stage design of this and like the screen on the background is really cool. Plus Baekhyun's high notes. That's like, whenever people are watching like EXO videos, it's like, hey, watch El Dorado and listen to Baekhyun's high notes. And then, of course, this is why we have the song Lightsaber, which is a collaboration that EXO did with Star Wars and Disney. Because they saw, someone at Disney or Star Wars saw this performance of El Dorado, and they sort of like have these light sticks that they're dancing with, that's like part of the choreography and stuff, and someone was like, hey, we should get them to promote The Force Awakens in Asia. And that's what happened. So that's how we have Lightsaber, which is in Korean, Mandarin Chinese, and also Japanese, which honestly isn't that weird for EXO. EXO usually has everything released in Korean and Mandarin, so, but this one also is in Japanese. Yeah, it's just cool. Really cool. Anyway, Lightsaber isn't even on this list. So El Dorado, that's a fun song. Hurt, the choreography for that was really good. That was one of my favorites. Christmas Day, which for some reason I've been watching a lot of live stages of, because I had recently been introduced to the choreography. Like, I came across it somehow and I was like, I didn't know they have choreography for that. Like, I felt like a fake fan. But there's always things that you're discovering. So Christmas Day, to see that like in their concert performance is cool. Miracles in December, which is just such a beautiful song. The entire club section is what I put down. So it's Full Moon, Machine, Drop That, and Let Out the Beast, which maybe there was like another song in there, but those are the ones that I wrote down. Growl, which I can't even remember right now, but apparently Growl was like one of my favorites, which is interesting because usually I'm a little annoyed with that song only because it's like, South Korea needs to get over it. It's known as South Korea's national anthem, at least among EXO fans, and probably a lot of K-pop fans. But maybe not, I don't know. And then of course, EXO 2014, Promise. For some reason, that's like the title of it, like EXO 2014 is part of the title, but most of the time people just say Promise. I cried during that performance because it's a really personal song for EXO. They wrote it after 3 of the members left, or at least I think Tao had not actually left at that point, but a 3rd member ended up leaving during this tour. So they used to have 12 members originally, but now they have 9. And then other random notes on it really quickly, because I'm taking forever just talking about EXO. Chanyeol looks so good. He's my ultimate bias in K-pop. He looked so good. Enough said. Baekhyun looked so good. He's singing with that voice, and I'm like, I love him. Even though I just said Chanyeol's my bias, an ultimate bias. Baekhyun is my bias wrecker. If you don't know what I'm saying, it's fine. And then I think something happened with Kai. I think he like something happened with his ankle, because like he was crying a lot, but then also they were like performing Promise, and then like, especially if that's around the same time that Tao left, it's just like, so it's even more like significant. Yeah, it's really sad. Lastly, it would be really nice if SM would put some freaking English subtitles on here. They put Korean, simplified Chinese, and Japanese subtitles on these, but they don't put English subtitles, which for earlier releases, I understand. I'm hoping for when they release EXO Planet number 5 that it will have English subtitles, because it's like EXO doesn't exist anywhere except Asia, which as a fan who lives in America, that's really annoying. And SM has a way of like alienating their international fans if they're outside of Asia. It would just be nice to have English subtitles, because they have like these parts that are called ments, M-E-N-T-S, or just like a ment, and then, but there's like multiple, so that's why I'm making it plural. And it's basically when they're just talking to the fans, but it's like 10 minutes I'm just sitting there each time, like, I don't know what they're saying. This is when I should learn Korean. Okay, now that I've spent 16 minutes talking about EXO, we're moving on to the next film, which is the one that I liked the least of these 3, unfortunately. It was The Man Who Fell to Earth from 1976. It sort of had a different feel to it the whole time. Like, I thought it was going to be a lot more sci-fi, but it was I think because David Bowie's character, like, he's like this alien. He's a man who fell to Earth. I think because he's the outsider brought onto Earth, and does this take place in America? It takes place in America, right? Yeah, because they have the whole thing with, like, his visa, but it's not because he's British, it's because he's an alien. Yeah, so it takes place, like, in America, and so it's like he's an outsider, but, like, we're still in this, like, normal world that as an audience member we're used to. So I just thought it would be more sci-fi, and especially, like, clips and images that I see from this film are, like, the highlight more sci-fi parts of the film overall. So, I mean, I sort of explained what this is about, but David Bowie's character, you know, the character that I don't have his name written down because I have Mary Lou written down, but that's it. So David Bowie is the alien, and he lands on Earth, and he's on a mission there's like a drought on his planet, but he wants to get back to his family. But I can't remember if, like, his mission initially was, like, to get water or just to find, like, another home for his family. That wasn't clear. At least not to me. Or maybe I'm just forgetting. But then he, like, sort of falls in love and, like, makes a connection with this. Like, she starts off as, like, a hotel employee, and then, like, suddenly they're a couple. But that character's name is Mary Lou, and she's kind of... Yeah, they have this argument at one point where they're talking about his visa and, like, him being an alien, but, like, he means it as in he's an alien, and she means it as in he's not American. And then that after that argument, he reveals himself as, like, the alien that he really is. At first, she doesn't know that he's an alien, but then she finds out. And it really focuses on the struggle he has being on Earth and away from his family and trying to get back home, and then also other people sort of find out or, like, want to do experiments on him. So that is sort of like the later, maybe like 40 to 30 minutes of the film is, like, him essentially trapped and being put through tests. And I was watching his character, but I still don't really understand certain things that were happening and, like, the meaning behind things. Again, maybe that's just me with some sort of lack of interpretation on certain things that happened in the film. Maybe it's just because time has passed. At one point I wrote, "What a trip," in all capital letters. Not sure what scene that refers to, but apparently this movie is a trip, which I think I would still describe it in that way, but more parts, probably. I could think of a few scenes that I could say what a trip about. And that kind of brings me to this next point, which I wrote, some shots look like a completely different film. And yeah, like, sometimes if you looked at stills from this film, you may think that it's, like, a romance, and then there's the scenes that look more like sci-fi, and then there's scenes that look like maybe a Western. Yeah, it just, if you look at the imagery of the film, it doesn't look like it has a specific genre. Maybe that's what it's going for. It's based on a novel, which I haven't read, and I'm very unfamiliar with. I was pretty much unfamiliar with this going into it, other than knowing that it's called The Man Who Fell to Earth. It's on the Criterion Collection, but out of print, and it stars David Bowie, and that's about it. And actually, there were some parts that I've seen that are kind of spoilery, and I didn't realize that. Like, when he reveals himself as an alien, I had seen, like, images of him looking in the mirror at that part, but, like, years ago. Oh yeah, so I'm unfamiliar with the book, and didn't have much of an idea of what the film would be about going into it. The last thing I wrote here, has this been adjusting the whole time? Every time I look down, has it been adjusting? I don't know, my camera just auto-adjusted, or auto-focused, or whatever. The last thing, though, that I've written down, I wrote, okay, Mary Lou can chill out. Some guys don't turn out to be the way you think they are. She knew he had a wife. She found out he's an alien. Did she honestly expect a different outcome? But, like, I don't know what that's in reference to. Probably just when they were, like, arguing at a few points. Yeah. Because they do have a few arguments, like, and then one is, like, sort of about him being an alien. Those were my thoughts on it, but it wasn't... I probably wouldn't rewatch it. I think I actually might have wrote more on my Letterboxd, so I'm going to link that in the description. Well, I'll have my Letterboxd linked anyway, but then if there's something more that I said, like, specifically for The Man Who Fell to Earth, I'll link that separately as well. And then I was also going to say, I think this is still on the Criterion channel. That's how I watched it. But I'll have it in the description if it's available and, like, if there's an expiration date, stuff like that. And obviously EXO Planet #2 I have, and I think you can find clips online if you just, like, go on YouTube. I mean, you're on YouTube right now, so if you just searched EXO Planet #2 you could find performances. And then lastly, hopefully I don't get cut off with time too much here, I have The Lovers from 1958, which is a French film directed by Louis Malle, and I loved this. It kind of took me some time to get into, but then, like, once it just, like, has a really good scene that I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is it. So this is about a woman who's been married for a number of years now, and she starts to have an affair with this man, or, like, I don't think they officially, like, have an affair, but it, like, I don't think they have sex, but I think it is sort of seems like they're dating secretly, or, like, you know, they're hanging out a lot together outside of her being with her husband, who is, I wouldn't say that they have, like, a bad marriage or anything like that, or that she's, like, bored. I just don't think that she gets the attention that she wants, or the amount of attention that she wants from her husband, as well as is sort of envious, perhaps, of the life that her friend has, and she's more of, like, a socialite character. Going into more details, like, perhaps you might not want to know this, then I don't know character names, but the wife, the main character, played by Jean Moreau, her car ends up breaking down, and she gets a ride with this other man who is a stranger to her, but then to return the favor of him driving her to their house, he's invited to dinner and to stay over, and to, I guess, sort of just stay with the party that they're having. And the stranger ends up having an affair with the wife, with the main character, and they're the lovers. And I mean, I have to mention it now, the love scene between the two of them is, like, one of the most beautiful love scenes I've ever seen in all of film. It was like sensual, but still, like, obviously it can't be so over the top because it's like 58. But it was still, like, really tasteful and, like, like, teasing, but, like, teasing the audience in the way that, like, we don't see anything, but, you know, like, sorry, I just, like, flung this at the screen, but, like, because you can see what's happening between the characters, like, you can't see anything, but you know what's happening. Does that make sense? So, I'm actually not sure how to summarize these thoughts, because they're all over the place and just sort of just random thoughts as the movie was progressing. I wrote initially that, like, I don't agree with cheating. I guess maybe there could be a set of circumstances where I'd be more indifferent. So, like, I'm just saying that as a clarification in case, like, at one point I am indifferent to some scenario in a film or something like that that has cheating, but, like, no for cheating. With all that being said, though, like, it is a topic that I like watching and like, I'm interested in, I guess, unfolding, seeing unfold on screen. I think for most of the film, though, I was just really enjoying watching a French film again, because I feel like it's been a while since I've watched at least a French film from like the 50s or 60s, which is where I really started when it comes to French cinema, which is like my favorite. So it sort of made me like sentimental and like reminiscent of when I was like first getting into like French New Wave and just French cinema, which is also where I started with like international cinema. So I think I was just like enjoying the film for what it is. And then also Jean Moreau is just gorgeous. So there's that. The last two things that I wrote here are I'm about to rate it up half a star more just for this scene. So that's pertaining to like the love scene. Like it's just so beautiful. Yeah. And then I also wrote life is actually beautiful in black and white, because sometimes there's just something about like black and white cinematography that I'm like, I'm so glad that this was captured this way. And also maybe there's just more sentimentality to it, even though it's not like I'm used to black and white photography. Yeah, I just really like this. I don't think I have like a lot more thoughts other than I recommend it and it's a new favorite of mine. At least in terms of French cinema. So I thought I would actually spend more time talking about The Lovers, but I guess most of this video is just EXO Planet #2, Exolution. So, thanks for watching if you stuck around for the entire thing and endured me trying not to fangirl too hard over EXO. But if you've seen The Lovers, if you've seen The Man Who Fell to Earth, I mean, even though EXO Planet you probably haven't seen, if you've seen any of these films, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them, and like maybe any recommendations based on The Lovers mostly. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!